Hello, CTM Monarchs. This is Dr. C coming to you from my office on Sunday afternoon. Our vision at Coleridge Taylor Montessori is to empower all students to achieve academic success, socio-emotional growth, and the development of global and cultural competencies that will ensure future success. Our mission, the mission of Coleridge Taylor Montessori, is to provide a safe, hands-on, rigorous learning experience rooted in the Montessori method. In partnership with students, parents, caregivers, and staff, will support the potential of each and every child. Our core values are empathy, respect, equity, collaboration, and academic success. And our Monarch promise: we, the monarchs of Coleridge Taylor Montessori, value one another. We honor our differences and show empathy towards others. We respect ourselves, others, and our school. We collaborate as a community and work towards equity, and we are empowered to reach academic success and become next generation leaders. Our improvement priorities. Number one is about a shared mission vision for teaching and learning, and high expectations and rigor for all students so that we can improve our school community. Number two is to make sure that we monitor our school's behavior management system so that every student is supported and we have a positive and safe learning environment. And number three is that we have purposeful professional development for all staff that supports the needs of the school. Congratulations to our two Barrett Award winners. I don't know that there are any other schools in JCPS that have two Barrett Award winners this year, but the Barrett Award used to be what was called the Hilliard Lyons Award, and this is a series of educational excellence awards to recognize educators in our community who are outstanding, and we have two of those people in our building, and we are so excited. The first of those awards is Miss Ariel Bigham. She was the Teacher of the Year as nominated by a student. So a student wrote a letter about how Miss Bigham had supported and helped that student over the course of the year, and we submitted it and she won. So congratulations to Miss Bigham, and you can see that picture there. And then Dr. Angela Pleasant, who is one of our instructional coaches. She supports our teacher teams. She was the outstanding academic instructional coach of the year for the work that she did the past year to make sure our teacher teams were intact. We don't have a picture of her, but she will be having one this week, so be ready to see it coming up on social media. But congratulations to both of those award winners. They get to attend a ceremony, and then they also have an opportunity to have $1,000 that they can spend as they wish on their students and their teachers. So congratulations to both of you. We are very proud. And that makes three Barrett Award winners that we have at CTM. Miss Sarah Reed, our academic instructional coach, Dr. Angela Pleasant, our collaborative team instructional coach, and Miss Bigham. So we have a lot of amazing staff at CTM, and we are so pleased that they are with us and supporting students. So congratulations again. Now, I know last week I shared that there would be some upcoming changes around COVID because there was a special session that was called by Governor Beshear. What we didn't know is that President Biden would also mandate some changes around the COVID response that is going to possibly impact what happens here in Louisville, in Jefferson County, and then across the nation as well. So we do know that Jefferson County had a masking mandate that was already in effect prior to the special session. So we had our Board of Education passed a rule that masks must be worn by everybody in JCPS, students, staff, and visitors, regardless of their vaccination status. So this new rule that came out of the special session will not impact what happens in Jefferson County around our masking rules in JCPS schools. Now, what lawmakers did not approve was an unlimited amount of NTI days or remote learning days. There are only 20 days that were approved in Senate Bill 1, and those 20 days are per district, not per school, per district. So if one school in a district has staff shortages due to quarantine and has to close because there's nobody to cover the students that are present, that 1 day closure of that one school reduces the district total of remote learning days by one for a total of 19 days remaining, and so on. So NTI, as we have seen it in the previous school years, is not going to exist. So NTI does not exist as it has happened with those unlimited days previously. What did remain in effect was that there were 10 NTI days from the previous lawmaking session in the spring that do still they are still present, and we can use those in Jefferson County and across the state without penalty. So there are 10 NTI days from previous state law that you do not have to make up. Something else that we found out this week for sure, Pathfinder Online School is full to capacity and there's a waiting list. We've had several families call because they've had to quarantine due to family illness and so on. Pathfinder School has a very lengthy waiting list, and it is not the same as what we previously had with NTI, with hybrid, with any of that. Okay, so one other thing is that the concept of hybrid school is not available to us. The next time that lawmakers come into session will be January 15th. We don't know what's going to happen. That's several months away. We don't know if the pandemic is going to calm down or if it's going to amp up. It's more likely that it's going to amp up just because the number of unvaccinated folks, how many kids don't have vaccines, and the fact that winter is going to be coming. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know what I mean when I say that. But winter is coming, and we know that we have cold, flu season, and then we're also going to still have COVID in the mix too. So back to the slide. So laws were passed in the spring of 2021 that allowed for 10 NTI days that don't have to be made up. That's still in effect. JCPS right now holds school 4 more days than is required by Kentucky state education law. So if needed, there could possibly be canceling of school for the pandemic up to 14 days. Those 10 COVID days that were in previous state law, and then the 4 days that JCPS goes over the required number of days. But it is unclear if that will happen. We just know that that's the max, that there will be any cancellation of school outside of weather or something of that nature. Okay. We also know that COVID testing is likely to expand for staff and students due to some of these state and federal changes, and also based on some incentives and or requirements for staff to be vaccinated. That might happen in the coming weeks and months. That was part of the federal mandate by President Biden that anybody who owns a business or has a company that has over 100 employees, they need to have mandatory testing or mandatory vaccination. If you're a federal worker or if you work in a healthcare facility that accepts Medicare or Medicaid patients, there's a requirement for vaccination or testing, weekly testing. So some of that might be coming to impact our school district. We're not 100% sure exactly yet, but please keep your eyes peeled with the news of that. So what we do know for sure, the pandemic is still here. We're likely to have a COVID winter because Delta is still ravaging families. My own family has been impacted. My father-in-law is currently struggling with COVID, so keep him in your thoughts. We have other staff in our building who have been out because of COVID. Keep them in your thoughts. We know that NTI and remote learning district-wide for an extended period of time, it's not going to happen. The special session was called. Lawmakers made a decision. If you have concerns about that, you're a constituent, you vote, can contact your lawmakers. Masking, we know that masking is still here for JCPS staff, students, and visitors. That is not going to change, okay? It is not going to change. Weekly testing is still here for schools, for staff and students. So if you haven't signed your child up for testing, please do so. We are still working out the kinks in JCPS around the testing. So just know that is something that we're trying to be flexible and responsive for our students and families with. And it's taken some time to get that process and system down. We also know that testing opportunities are going to be growing for JCPS staff, students, and families at the testing locations. If you were not aware, Central High School, that is across the street from us, does have a testing location, and they do testing every day between, I think, the hours of 3 and 7. They change some of the hours, so you might want to follow up with the JCPS website. You can see that information there. And we know that the Jefferson County Board of Education is going to be meeting this Tuesday, and they're going to discuss next steps for possible COVID mitigation that happens in schools. So whether it is mandatory testing for faculty and staff or students, or it is mandatory vaccination for staff, we're not 100% sure. So if you are curious and interested, you can watch that on YouTube. I know that I will be watching it on Tuesday. The last thing that we know for sure, vaccination and masking are the two best ways to protect your family, our students who cannot be vaccinated yet, and our school community. We do know that there are some folks in our community, our school community, and then also Louisville as a whole that are immunocompromised. They can't take the vaccine because they already have a depressed immune system. So we have to make sure that we're getting vaccinated and wearing our masks and also washing our hands frequently so that we are staying safe. So remember, vaccination protects your family and it also protects others around you. And wearing that mask is also going to help protect yourself. And also, if you might be a carrier, it's going to help keep the COVID away from people around you. So what's happening in classrooms this week? We have MAP testing. So MAP testing stands for Measure of Academic Progress. This is a test that kids take 3 times a year in Jefferson County. It's computer-based. They are tested in reading and math. They take one in the fall, they take one in the winter, and then they take one in the spring. And we as educators use that information that comes from each of those testing administrations to determine how a kid's growing and also what specific things a student might need to work on. It really works well with our Montessori framework because the Montessori progression is focusing on helping students move from where they are to where they want to be and where they need to be on an academic progression. And it also helps teachers know when they need to slow down or when they need to speed up because some of our students are advanced and ready for the next thing. Okay, so please remember that that's happening this week. Please only send healthy children here daily so that they don't miss these tests. And if you have appointments, please try to schedule those for after school so students don't miss these tests. We will be doing that this week only. We'll be finishing up math assessments. Some teachers are still working on that. And then we have one class of kindergartners that are finishing their Brigance assessments. Please continue to return Chromebooks. We passed out Chromebooks this week to students in class, but those Chromebooks will not be going home. The Chromebooks that you were issued last year during NTI, if you were here in JCPS, if your student was a JCPS student, those Chromebooks have been disabled. They cannot be used. The district turned them off. So they're basically a paperweight. Do us a favor and bring those back in with the cords so that we can turn them into the district. Thank you so much for that. We've had a lot of parents reach out to us and ask for support for behavioral or mental health concerns. A lot of students are really struggling with the transition from being at home with their parents for a long period of time to coming back to school. We have students that are having separation anxiety. We have students that are exhibiting other issues that are coming with this transition back to school. Please know that we have staff who are ready to support. Miss Brittany Metcalf, our school guidance counselor, can help. Mr. Randy Arnold is our district provided mental health provider. He can help. He is the case manager, the primary case manager for any of our students who are needing those supports. And then we also have Bluegrass Counseling Services in Centerstone, which used to be called 7 Counties, that come and visit students here. And they do a lot of community-based counseling, and they can come to your home and that sort of thing. So any counseling referral has to have a parent consent paperwork process attached to it. So if you want your child to receive services, we will send something home to you. Please make sure you complete that paperwork and send it back. Thank you for that. Again, remember, if your child has been in contact with COVID, you must let us know immediately. We have had some parents that wait until 1 in the afternoon to let us know that their child has been in contact with COVID or has tested positive for COVID. That does not help us do contact tracing. We need to know early in the morning. If your child went to the immediate care center the night before, we need to know as soon as possible, because there's many steps that myself and our school nurse and our leadership team have to go through to make sure that we are notifying other families and keeping kids safe, and also providing enough time for parents to come pick up their children if they have to quarantine. So please, 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 if your child tests positive, let us know in the morning, if at all possible. Thank you for that. Again, you can sign your kid up for voluntary diagnostic screening for COVID-19. Last week, not every child was tested because the provider, Wild Health, did not have the names that had been submitted. So we apologize for that. Hopefully this week they will do better. I was very, very, very direct with the district and asking for additional help and also clarity on making sure that the right kids' names got into Wild Health. So please be patient with us as we're working through that process. If your child has a mask waiver, that is the only reason that they cannot wear a mask to school. It has to be signed by a doctor, and it has to have some medical documentation behind it. Thank you to our parent representatives for ALT, which is formerly known as SBDM, Jen Petrie and Kimberly McClellan Woods. So what SBDM, or ALT as we call it here, is for, what they do is teachers, the principal, and 2 parents provide decision-making guidance to the school to address academic achievement and school improvement. And this is a big portion of the work that we do for improvement priority number 1. So we appreciate these parents stepping up, and we look forward to how they support our school with their parental leadership. Parents, if you have a kid that is a walker or a car rider, or your child misses the bus, do not double park on Chestnut Street. It is unsafe. A car wreck almost happened on Friday morning. If you are doing this situation where you're pulling up on the side next to a car, this is not legal, and it is not safe to let the babies out of the car, okay? Please do yourself a favor and leave a little bit early so that you can make it on time. Please also do not drive on our bus loading area, which is on 11th Street. That is reserved to buses only. We have buses that are getting here a little later than usual, so they are running a little behind. So we are usually done with buses by 9:30, but that side parking lot is not a place for families to pull in, especially when there are buses on the lot, and especially with the 2 posted signs that are out there. So please don't double park, and please do not park on the bus lot. And then finally, the last thing is try to get here a little early so that you can avoid all of these situations that are potentially dangerous for students. Thank you. Medication. We have some students that take medicine every day. Please make sure you drop that off with the nurse. You can come to the front door, ring the bell, and somebody will meet you to pick up that medication. Make sure that you have that medication in the original pharmacy packaging. And as always, we have our additional information. You can see this here. It is also in the newsletter that we shared. If you have any questions about any of these items, please reach out. We're more than willing to help and support you. And we hope that you have a great week. We're looking forward to another full week of school. It's going to be nice and beautiful most of the week this week. So we're going to get the last little bits of summer that we can before fall hits and the weather starts to change. Have a great week. If you need something, reach out. This is Carmichael from my office. Peace.